Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications. Patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Chris Vermeulen from the TechnicalTraders.com. Welcome back to the show, Chris.
Hi, Jim. Thanks for having me.
The U.S. dollar has been quite strong over recent times. What's your look at the U.S. dollar?
Yeah, the U.S. dollar, it's just been grinding higher and really carrying a lot of value. I think a lot of investors around the world have been moving out of their currency into the U.S. dollar as a safe haven play. And really, it's the only currency that's been really moving higher while the rest are just falling by the wayside. And, we've been kind of waiting to see some type of top in the dollar, which would put an inverse reaction with commodities. And today was a really interesting day. The U.S. dollar over the last month and a half had a beautiful pop and a rally to new highs up near almost 97. And today we've seen, a 2.5, 3-week pullback in the dollar. And today alone on a swing trading analysis using short-term technical analysis, today is the first day we've actually seen the U.S. dollar now consider itself in a short-term downtrend. We haven't seen this since pretty much January of this year. So it's kind of like the early warning sign. This is the first time frame where the market here is potentially turning down for the dollar. And if it has follow through selling and eventually it forms a topping formation, we could see a potentially very big breakdown in the dollar, which will have an inverse effect on commodities. And we should see precious metals and crude oil, I think, benefit greatly from this over the next several months.
Is the action with the U.S. dollar in reaction to things that are going on in Argentina and Turkey where their currencies are falling like a rock?
It probably has something to do with it. I don't really follow those two currencies too much, but, we've seen such a strong move in the dollar. And earlier in August, we saw a big pop and a big breakout move, only for the dollar to reverse and sell right back down. And we're almost lower than where it opened the beginning of August. And that to me is more of a technical move. It's almost like an exhaustion move where you see a big rally in something. By the end of the month, it closes back down and you just see this long upper wick. That goes to say that there's all kinds of traders or investors, or the overall economy is dumping the dollar when it gets up to those lofty prices. And it's a big reaction. It's a big rejection of price going up. So this being at this point, a very weak close for August, it has a very negative undertone for the dollar, especially when you look at the monthly chart. And it points to another couple months of sideways or lower price for the dollar, which should put a beautiful bottom, more or less, in commodities, I think, going forward.
What does that mean for the Canadian dollar?
Well, the Canadian dollar, if we see crude oil and Canadian dollar do move quite close together, and I think the Canadian dollar will hold up fairly well here, especially if crude oil starts to really continue this trend that has just started to the upside, continues to mature. But overall, the Canadian dollar is still in a major basing formation. It is, to me, it's got still a bearish undertone. You look back on the weekly or the monthly chart, and it's going to be interesting to see where the Canadian dollar breaks. At this point, I'm more neutral on it. It feels like it could move down a little bit, back test those 75 level, currently at 77. So it's going to be interesting where that moves. But if the dollar does start to sell off and we see crude oil start to firm up, we're definitely going to see the Canadian dollar, I think, pick up speed and run up to test this $80 level. But a lot of it's going to hinge, I think, on the price of crude oil.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after the break.
Arctic Star Exploration, operated by a team of proven mine finders, is focused on diamonds in Finland and the Northwest Territories of Canada. Work programs are underway in Finland and planned for Canada this summer. Arctic Star trades on the TSX Venture Exchange symbol ADD, on Frankfurt symbol 82A1, and the OTCQB symbol ASDZF. Please visit our website arcticstar.ca or call us at 604-689-1799.
Cypress Development Corp's flagship lithium project is located just east of Albemarle's Silver Peak mine in the heart of Clayton Valley, Nevada. A 12-hole exploration drill program for lithium-enriched claystone on Cypress's 100% controlled properties is now underway. Cypress Development Corp trades on the TSX Venture Exchange symbol CYP, the Pink's CYDVF, and on Frankfurt C1Z1. For more information, please visit our website, cypressdevelopmentcorp.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, you were mentioning the Canadian dollar and its close ties to crude. What do you see in the crude oil market?
Yeah, well, the crude oil market has got some really interesting price action, similar to the U.S. dollar, where we've got several different time frames all kicking into gear here, and crude oil is a perfect example. If we were to look, at more or less a swing trader's point of view, looking just for a week or two out for a kind of a momentum move to the upside or the downside. Today, which is Thursday, crude oil finally has turned green on our short-term trading indicators, indicating all the technicals are pointing to the upside. It has upward bias. Cycle analysis is pointing to higher prices, and it's the first sign of a significant kind of trend reversal. And then when we look at the daily chart, today was the first day that we've seen crude oil price actually create what I call an impulse wave high, meaning it's broken two previous rallies in the past. And to me is a sign that the momentum is now shifted to the upside. Any pause or pullback in crude oil can be bought. And then when you look at the weekly chart of crude oil, which is the more long-term kind of position or investing point of view, we've got a fairly significant cycle low coming into play here. And if crude oil does rally up, break above that 75, 76 area, we should be off to the races to the mid-80s and see a multi-week or actually a multi-month kind of move higher. I think we could start to see it continue to expand and get to the upper 80s going forward.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after this.
I'm Greg Johnston, CEO of Carl Data Solutions, an industrial Internet of Things company that provides big data solutions for monitoring critical infrastructure. Carl Data offers machine learning and predictive analytics features through our cloud-based applications to deliver key asset-saving operational insights from massive amounts of data. Carl Data trades on the CSE symbol CRL and the Pink symbol CDTAF. For more details on Carl Data, please visit carlsolutions.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, what's happening on the precious metals market, and how does that play into the U.S. dollar action?
Yeah, well, as we all know, precious metals have been under a lot of downward selling pressure for quite a while. We saw some really big volatility here, more or less in August, with gold, silver, and miners kind of collapsing and dropping, and we saw a big volume spike. And it feels as though it's an exhaustion kind of low in the metals market. And I've talked about this a lot with followers that the type of price action we're seeing, we should expect a lot more volatility, big monthly price swings for potentially several more months here, but these are the signs that a bottom is likely getting put in place. And when you look over what the dollar is doing, potentially putting in a significant topping formation, it bodes well with a bottom formation starting to carve out in precious metals. And, you look at the gold miners and you zoom out to the monthly chart of the gold miners, and you can really clearly see the kind of breakout of the breakdown of this pattern. It's a big red bar, heavy volume, and it's just a sign that the market is running the stops, meaning people will have all their stop orders saying, I want to get out if it falls to this level. it triggers those stops, creates a big wave of selling, a very sharp drop, which is what we saw mid-August here. And then now the market needs to stabilize. And I think going forward here, most of the downside damage to the metals market is pretty much done. And I think it's still going to be choppy for potentially another month or two. But overall, it seems to be cleansing itself, and I think we could start to see this whole sector start to firm up and have some great opportunities going forward.
Does the problem, or do the problems in South Africa have a play in precious metal prices?
I'm not sure if they do or not, to be honest. I don't follow what's going on over there when it comes to the metals. I'm definitely more of a technical trader, and I don't get caught up in news, because even if news does affect something, it's usually a 1 or 2 day blip on the chart. I don't see too much carryover from that type of sentiment. So I don't follow the news, but I do feel as though this is definitely, to me, this is kind of screaming a technical play. It's simply the stops being run. It's a flush out of orders. Everything from right down to the intraday chart, when you look at the way price had a waterfall sell-off in August, it's just simply momentum picking up speed, stop orders being triggered, because the big volume surges happen to be right where previous pivot lows were over the past year. And as soon as you break those lows, that's where traders put their stop levels, their stop orders to execute and close out their position. And that's where we see the volume spikes. So to me, this is not news related. It is simply technical levels on the chart are being breached where the majority of traders put their stops, and it's executing the trades and creating this waterfall sell-off. And now we just need to see if the market can stabilize from this point forward.
Chris, your take from what's happened during the week?
Well, this week we've seen a nice move up in the overall equities market, and the markets, they've been performing very well, and we're seeing them continue to extend to the upside. Today we saw a little bit of panic selling in the overall broad stock market. Prices pulled down to their 5-day moving averages. I think on a very short-term point of view, there was panic selling on the NYSE today, panic selling in the VIX, meaning the VIX spiked up, and when the VIX is high, it's usually time to buy stocks. Prices are testing their 5-day. We've got a cycle low starting tomorrow morning on the 30-minute chart. So looking forward, tomorrow, going into a holiday, I think we've got a very good chance we're going to see the markets rally up here and have a half decent close for the week.
Chris, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Hey, always a pleasure, Jim. Thanks for having me on the show.
My guest has been Chris Vermeulen from thetechnicaltraders.com. You're listening to HowStreet.com radio. Any questions for the show or our guests can be sent to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.